Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to week 6 of Morning Mug Talks. And I've got a good one for you today, actually. How good is coffee? So good. So, last night, this episode is going to be about when your healing journey gets unexpectedly tested. And so what happened to me last night was, of all the places in the world and of all the 2 minutes in a whole day, I went to go get a bottle of wine from the bottle-o last night because I just felt like a glass. And I'm like, when I have wine, when I buy wine and I'm by myself and it's only me drinking it, I will have like 1 or 2 glasses and then I pour the rest of the bottle down the sink because I'm like, well, I don't want to drink any more and I won't want it on Monday because it's the start of the week and it's fresh, starting fresh. So I have tipped the other half of the bottle out already this morning. So went into a bottle-o last night, 5:30ish p.m., right? Sunday night in Lithgow. It's dead. There's nobody about. It's quiet. Someone drives in directly behind me. And so anyways, I go into the drive-through part. I pull up and I walk in and I'm standing looking at the wine selection and I hear a kid at the door compliment my car, which makes me just look up. And as I look up, someone walks through that door who I have not seen in perhaps 6+ years, and it was the relationship, it was the ex that was the catalyst of huge change, huge growth, huge realizations, a lot of pain, and a lot of healing came from that person's choices. So we were together, we split up in 2018. It was like, upon reflection of that relationship, it was the one that taught me so much about, trusting your intuition, because there was a lot of gaslighting and a lot of, me being told that I was imagining things and I was crazy when my intuition was screaming at me about certain things. We worked together, we lived together, we ran a business together, and he cheated on me with a colleague at work. So it was really confronting. And it's not something that happened just overnight. There was things happening for like months into the lead up of when we finally split up. And the cherry on top for me was that he didn't come home the night of my 30th birthday. Or the night before, actually. I think it was the night before my 30th. He didn't come home. Turned up at like 5 a.m, didn't have a license at the time, and just expected, the usual to happen, me to drive us to work. And that was the cherry on top for me. Like, it was the final straw of like, wow, I'm so uncared for here. This is not a place where I am valued. And anyways, it was just super, it was messy, it was painful, it was hard, and it taught me the most about relationships. It was what made me want to learn about relationships to an extent. It was the thing that taught me how to move through a breakup, what worked, what didn't work in the healing journey. And yeah, it was a catalyst that led me on a certain path. And it's nice when you go through these kind of breakups or experiences, not at the time, but when you can get to the point where you can look back and go, I'm really grateful for all the crap that happened in that because of how much it taught me and because it led you to a more beautiful place, like a better place, especially when it comes to your own personal growth and healing. So yeah, he walked in. As I've looked up, because this kid said something about my car, I've looked up, we made eye contact, and I think there was a level of shock value on both parts of like, what the fuck, holy shit, because like he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, time seriously slowed down, and we didn't break eye contact until he had turned the corner of the aisle. And I don't know, in the moment, I was like, hey, I didn't really know what else to do, to be honest. It was interesting, right? So it's interesting because in that moment, my body remembered before my brain, right? There was a trigger. I was triggered for sure. Shock value off the Richter scale. And I walked away from that moment thinking, okay, that was interesting. Like, what the F? And also, interesting that I said, hey, because the ending of that, because of how much crap happened, like, I just stopped talking to him and I just had to, like, the way to end the gaslighting and the stuff that kept happening was just, I had to just stop talking to him altogether. So it was interesting that I said, hey. And I think in that itself, I was able to reflect upon, okay, how interesting that I said it, because it goes to show the level of work that I put into myself to rebuild my value, to rebuild my self-worth, to pivot and change life. And also, it's a long time ago. So much has changed. So much has happened in that time. I have no idea about his life whatsoever. I have no idea where he's at. I have no idea if he's happy. None of that. This is all just about my noticing my reaction and how my nervous system immediately was shocked and dysregulated. And still in that moment when I was triggered, I was able to say, hey. And I think that I feel like even though this is a long time ago, right? And I have done a lot of work on myself, I feel really happy about that, because I was like, okay, so I've gotten to a level of emotional intelligence where the person that did the most damage to me, outside of probably, my dad and him leaving when I was so young, and then, all the stuff that's happened with me and my brother just since then, because, like, guys, the wounds that you carry when a parent walks out is real. And I'll do an episode on this actually one day, because it's interesting, because I feel when I'm with my friends, I'm going to go off topic a little bit here. When I'm with my friends whose all parents are all together, I can sit there and, like, in everything I know about relationships and dating and family structure and conditioning and programming and the wounds that we carry into adulthood from childhood until we heal those and move forwards, I am 100% the statistic of the girl who had daddy issues, like, ridiculously. It's so fascinating to see, because they've all just got their shit together. And not that I don't have my shit together, but we've just gone on very different paths when it comes to relationships and dating, for sure. So yeah, outside of my dad, this one was the biggest thing for me. This was the biggest impact a person has had on my life in a negative way. And also in a way that taught me healing and growth. So in a positive way too. So yeah, it was interesting to be like, oh, my nervous system is incredibly triggered right now. But I still had the emotional intelligence and awareness in the moment to allow the past to be the past by just saying, hey. And then, those two people left that shop and went on their way. And I was like, this is going to be tomorrow's podcast episode, because I want to talk about, I can't be the only person that experiences this at all. I think this will be relatable for a lot of you. How do you react when something from your past unexpectedly shows up? Whether it be a person, a place, a song, a memory. How does your nervous system react to that? In what ways are you triggered? How do you move through being triggered? right? Because your body does remember before your brain can catch up. This is the whole concept of like, you know, PTSD and PTSD really, like you are so impacted by a certain experience that even years later it can trigger you. It triggers your nervous system because your body remembers and stores memories. Your body stores that. Okay, and even though your logical brain can come in after the fact and help you to move through it and talk through it and whatever else, this is why you will get that time slowing down, the racing heart, the I don't know what everyone will feel different things, but your body will have a reaction, a visceral reaction to whatever the thing is that walks back in unexpectedly into your life. And that has caused you some kind of heavy memory, right? So I just really wanted to say, you know, if that has happened and it is happening, or you haven't had it happen yet and maybe it happens to you too, because this is wild, right? Like Lithgow is a tiny little place. It's 5:30 p.m. on a Sunday night. Like those 2 exact minutes of a whole day where cross paths in that shop. It's crazy. It really is, because he doesn't live here as far as I know. I'm like, I've no idea, but I'm guessing Newcastle way still. But yeah, of all the places and of all the 2 minutes in a day. So if it hasn't happened to you yet, just be prepared that it might. And just notice what happens for you in the moment. How far have you grown that you can still be triggered and give some kind of response in the moment? Like you can respond to what's happening around you even though you're feeling triggered, rather than react, right? And something else that I found interesting as well in this moment was that my first thought was, after I left, I was like, oh my God, like I looked like an absolute dag, right? I've got Ugg boots on, trackies, just a random top. Like at least my hair was half okay. But it's interesting that my mind goes to shit. Like, I mean, whenever you run into an ex of any kind, you kind of, preferably you want to look better, right? Preferably you want to look better. So it was interesting that my brain went to that. But I was like, well, like who cares? It doesn't even matter. Like this person is not someone I've even thought of in forever. So, but yeah, it was just interesting that my mind went into a bit of a comparison mode, but I was able to move through that fine. Like afterwards, that's something that is healthy for you. If you notice that you compare yourself to other people a lot, or you judge other people a lot, the judgment comes from self-judgment. The judgment comes from you judging yourself and being triggered by others because you either wish you were more like them or you judge them to make yourself feel better. So yeah, it was just interesting that comparison kind of came in for me. I just had to laugh at that. So yeah, like it's just this whole thing. I was like, I need to talk about this on the podcast because it's such a learning experience as well. Just to be faced with something completely unexpected in a very unexpected moment, to notice how far you've come to be able to be triggered and still respond to the moment, and just to be like, to notice, like now that I know so much more about nervous system regulation, trauma, how our body stores things, how we react in moments, like to be completely aware of what was happening inside of me whilst this was happening in front of me is also pretty cool. But our body remembers before our brain will, and that is what will cause you the reaction and the dysregulation in the moment if you're ever faced with things that you haven't fully healed or you have had a bad experience with. If you're still being triggered by it, it's okay. It's your body is remembering what happened. So what's important is to go through the process to then regulate yourself and bring yourself back down to earth. Talk about what happened, get it out, go through your process, okay? And like, growth isn't measured by circumstances, right? I think the real lesson here is that the growth is measured by how you respond when you're triggered. Because healing is not tested when everything's going well. Who else has noticed that? Like, who has noticed that you are faced with things in your life and moments in your life at random times when maybe life isn't going super smooth, when everything isn't going really well, and you haven't got all your ducks in a row, because that's just life. You're constantly adapting and moving to change with what's happening around you. But I think the important thing is that the outcome is, who did you choose to be while you were triggered? Who did you choose to be while you were triggered? That's the question. That is going to be the measurement of your growth. That will be the measurement of your healing. And as you go through life, you can also measure this by how quickly you can regulate and come back down to being grounded after the trigger as well. I'm not going to lie, this one was like, I've been going through some things lately, and I literally said to somebody like last week, I am stoked with how quickly I'm regulating and moving through certain things and coming back down to being grounded and being able to move on. I don't dwell nearly as much anymore on things, like hardly. I really can bring so much logic and critical thinking into my life and into emotional moments that I can have hard conversations, and I can really choose myself and really level up to knowing my value and knowing my worth in certain situations, that even though they're sad, I can also still move on really, really quite well. Because those two, emotional intelligence is being able to go, yeah, that's really sad, and also this is what I actually prefer and want for my life, so I'm going to go down this path instead. And so I've really been moving through things rapidly lately in that space. This is really sad, and also I know that I want this for my life, so I'm going to move towards that instead and let that one go. And whilst it's sad to let that go, choosing what my goals are and choosing what's best for me, even though it's a sad choice to let the other one go, is so much more rewarding. When you can get to that place of knowing your value, knowing your worth, having confidence to choose what's right for you, and not hurting anyone in the process, simply going, actually, that doesn't work for me, this is what I know I need to do, and doing that, there's a certain liberty and freedom within that space, and peace too. So I've been able to really do that quite well and quickly lately. But yeah, it was interesting because last night I was like, holy shit, I was triggered. My the shock value, to be a fly on the wall in that room, in that moment. Oh, it was something. It was just so interesting to notice that I was still triggered in that moment. My nervous system got dysregulated and time slowed down. The shock value was there. But the ultimate outcome of that was that this was a great topic for the podcast, because I think a lot of people will be able to relate to moments where they come across somebody who they really don't want to see, or surprises them that they get triggered by seeing somebody they thought that it was just so long ago in the past that it wouldn't be triggering anymore. But when you're not prepared for it, it definitely has an extra level of shock value. But I think that you'll be able to relate to this story. And I was like, I need to talk about this. I don't really, this is new for me too, you guys, to be sharing things about my life to be vulnerable in front of you, this is another part of my growth journey, probably more so over the last 18 months, of being seen. And if you haven't done anything in your life where you actually really do get stripped bare and everyone can see what you're doing and posting, you probably won't fully understand the level of vulnerability that is in this. And it's different for everybody else. It's different for everyone too. But this is something that I've had to work really hard on for the last 18 months. And I did have a coach who helped me through this a lot last year. She was great. So yeah, it's new to be sharing this kind of story with all of you, because it's easy for me to call, my best friend and a couple of my best friends and let them know that this happened in the moment, because they were there with me during that time, during that really, really hard time. They were really, really there. They were my rocks. So I immediately, obviously called them, was like, you will never believe the fuck happened to me. And sorry, I'm swearing in this episode too, so I hope everyone's okay with that. You would never believe what happened just now. And they were all like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So yeah, outside of my immediate circle, I don't usually share a lot of this stuff, but I was like, this is definitely a teaching moment, and it's something that I wanted to share with all of you on the podcast, because I wanted you to know that, it doesn't matter how much work you do, you can still be triggered. And the lesson is for you to see, how do you respond to the situation when triggered? That will be the measure of your growth. And it's not react, don't react to the situation. How did you respond in the moment? If you reacted in the moment, then that's going to show you a certain level of places where you still need to do work. How did you respond in the moment? If you can respond when triggered in any kind of situation, you're doing well. You are doing well. So yeah, I really just wanted to jump on and share that with you guys. And I'd love to hear, so I want to start being more interactive with this. So whoever listens to this episode, I want to hear your stories. Has this happened to you? What was your worst breakup? Okay, let's pick 3 questions. I'm gonna pick 3 questions that I would love to get your answers to, and so that I can share them on the podcast, so that, because it's all relatable, right? What you experience, somebody else is going to relate to. What I experience, some of you are going to relate to this. So what was your worst breakup? Have you ever run into somebody or something from the past that was very unexpected and you were triggered in the moment? Your nervous system got dysregulated in the moment. How did you respond? And third question can be, how did you respond? Had you done any growth work in between when the thing happened to when it was in front of you, again, however long later? What has your growth journey looked like? Have you done healing? Have you had coaches? Have you been to therapy? Have you read books? Have you listened to podcasts? What got you through it? Because I think a lot of other people will be able to relate to what your experiences have been as well. So yeah, I'd love to hear. And I just honestly, another question that I had when I got back was, once I got back home, I was like, what is the lesson here? Because I try to see that. I try to look for what is, and sometimes that could be detrimental. Sometimes there's no lesson. It just is a moment in time that was super weirdly coincidental and freaking weird. But yeah, I'm like, what is the lesson in that? What am I meant to take away from this? And I think for me, it was just, I've turned a lot of things that have happened to me, I've tried to turn them into something good. I've tried to go, that really sucked. How can I help other people go through that? So I think that's the thing here. It's actually just opening up and sharing with you guys what happened in that moment for me and how I went through it, and just sharing it. That's I think the thing for me out of this is just going, okay, I have somewhere where I can share this experience. I can share what happened in the moment. I can hopefully give you guys a laugh at my misfortune. Like that unfortunate timing for that to happen. It was so bizarre. So bizarre to be faced with that. So yeah, I think that was for me, that's the takeaway. It's like, okay, share this. Someone else will relate to this. Someone else will take something from this. And if you are sitting here going, I haven't done any work since something really bad happened, I haven't tried to process it, I have a deep fear of facing those emotions and facing what might come up, in all honesty, I just want to say, go do some work. Go do the work. Invest in yourself. You only need to be scared of your emotions. You never need to be scared of your emotions, ever. Like, truly, the darkest, deepest shit that's within you, as soon as you face that and as soon as you realize that you can control your emotions, that you have control of your life, nothing can stop you, nothing can beat you, nothing can take you down. And while ever you don't face that stuff, it will eat away at you. It will show up within your body. Right, there's a great book, When the Body Keeps the Score, by Gabor Mate. Your body remembers things that you go through. When you don't process those emotions and you don't release them and you hold on to them, you will get sick. It will come out through your body. You know, it's like when you're super stressed in the lead up to having a holiday, as soon as you finish your last day of work and it's time for the holiday, you get sick because you've been avoiding, suppressing, repressing all of the stress, all of the stuff going on. You're not processing the emotions. You're just like, oh, I just need to get to that holiday. I just need to get to the holiday. And then you get to the holiday and your body goes, oh my God, we're exhausted because our cortisol levels have been through the roof for however long. And you're done. Then you're tired for the rest of the holiday. So, or you're sick for the holiday, sorry. Maybe you get fatigued. Maybe you get a chronic fatigue because your stress levels have been too high, or you're avoiding dealing with your emotions. You're just in overdrive. You're on autopilot. You're not present. You're not consciously aware of how you feel. You're just in this autopilot, unconscious, go, 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 do, until such time that you stop and then you get sick. Other people, you know, I believe that if we do not process our emotions and we do not work through our stuff and we suppress them, it will come out through even more serious things like autoimmune diseases or cancer, like worse sicknesses, right? I really believe in this. So it's super important that if you've had something happen within your life and you're scared of facing it, that's building up in your body in some way, shape, or form. And the way to your freedom is to work through it, is to realize that you have control of your life, is to realize that you can master your emotions, and that is incredibly empowering. And that's going to give you a level of confidence, groundedness to move through your life with more emotional intelligence, with more confidence, with more belief in yourself, with way less reactivity, right? Most people who have been through something hard that they haven't processed or dealt with, they are very reactive, defensive, because they're super triggered all the time and they think that everything is, you know, it's this fight, flight, freeze or fawn response all the time because they don't feel safe. So yeah, I really encourage you, if you've been through something that's hard, whether it's a relationship breakdown, whether it's losing somebody, whether it's, you know, abuse in some way, shape or form, work through it, face it, become empowered, master your emotions, realize that on the other side of all of that is a way more grounded life for you, a life with more love, compassion, kindness, care, peace. And we all deserve that. Like, we truly all deserve to get to that place. So, yeah, I'm going to finish it up there. I'm sure we've gone for 30 minutes, pretty much on the dot. So I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Thank you for being here. And please share with me your stories. I would love to hear. You can DM me on Instagram. Everything's in the show notes, my Instagram, my Facebook. You can email me if you like. I'll pop the email in there this week. It's hello@ashshepherd.com. So you can send through emails with your answers, and send through any emails with questions that you guys have that you'd like me to talk about as well. You guys become, a lot of people around me are my inspiration to what to talk about, because I'm sure what they're going through, other people are going through. And yeah, in the meantime, I'll keep sharing about things that I notice happening to me. Like crazy stories like last night. All right, have a beautiful Wednesday. I'll see you all next week. Bye.